The front door burst open, and Holloway and Waltz run into the mansion and head straight for the scene of the crime. They reach it to find everyone crowded around the door. Elizabeth, towards the back, has a shocked look on her face. Right next to her is Uva, who also looks surprised. In front of her are Elmers and Rosie. Rosie with her head buried in Elmer's shoulder, and muffled cries can be heard. Alexa and Juliet are at the very front, both with tears in their eyes. Holloway pushes through to get a look for himself. He's a little shocked at what he sees. LaCroix's head is leaning back with his mouth wide open. The liquid in the bath is completely red, and streams of blood are left on LaCroix's throat. In his hand, he still clutches the knife.
This looks like suicide.
Suicide? How can that be?
We've all been going through a tough time these last few days, it's possible. Pardon me for saying this, Miss Scriber and Miss Dehart, but he was at odds with you two, which could have led to this.
You're not saying...
Merely thinking the problem out loud.
But Jack apologized to us.
Did he?
Alexa nods.
Did you two accept his apology?
Yes, we did.
Well, Jacques was dealing with a lot of problems, but I doubt he committed suicide. The look in his face exhibits a look of terror, as if he wasn't expecting it. This is odd, though. Based on the murders committed thus far, everything's happened at night, under the cloak of darkness. The killer's getting more comfortable. Now, I need everyone to tell me what you've been doing since our meeting this morning. We'll start with you, Eric.
Alright, well, after the meeting, myself, Mr. Elmers, Rosie, Juliet, and Alexa went to the sitting room and talked for a little. And then, we went outside to talk.
Did any of you ever leave each other's presence?
I did. To go to the bathroom.
Did anyone else leave?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you come across Jacques or any of the other guests?
Not Jacques, but we did see Miss Gregorovich and Mrs. Harding.
Alright, thank you. Now, Uva, tell me your story.
Okay, so, after the meeting, Liz and I decided to go swimming. We went up to our rooms and got our suits. Then I changed in the downstairs bathroom and met Liz outside. We swam for a while until we saw the others run to the house.
Was there anyone else downstairs at the time?
Not that I could see.
Elizabeth, please tell me your perspective.
Gladly. After we left from getting our swimsuits, I suggested to Uva that she should change in the downstairs bathroom while I changed in the upstairs one. Surely you must have heard me up there.
I must have been in another room. Who was outside first?
I was. Uva came out a little after me.
Okay. Well, I'm asking this to all of you. Did anyone know about my gun?
Your gun?
Yes, I have a gun in my car.
Why not go get it? We could shoot the murderer when we catch them in the act.
It's been stolen. Now, have any of you been by the car since we've arrived?
Everyone shakes their heads. Everyone, except Uva.
I walked past them when I was on my walk.
Were they trashed when you saw them?
Well, no.
What do you mean by they? You're not saying...
Yes, Elizabeth, your car got trashed too.
Damn it. Why the hell would anyone trash my car? I don't have a pistol.
The murderer doesn't want us to escape until the deed is done.
Hang on. Didn't you search the house?
I did, yes.
Then where's the gun? Shouldn't it have shown up in your search?
Apparently not. The killers hid it somewhere. I've not looked.
This is terrible.
No shit, Harold.
On my search, though, I found something curious. Miss Dehart, Miss Scriber.
Alexa jumps a little and looks at Holloway, and then at the bag of pills. Juliet looks confusingly at Holloway.
Can you explain these?
Pardon?
These were found in your room. Do either of you take medication?
No, we don't.
I've never seen these before. They can't be ours.
Then explain why they were in your room.
We have no idea.
Are you sure both of you were telling the absolute truth in your interrogations?
Yes, I'm positive. Why would we lie?
To protect each other. If I could tell a lie to protect my wife, I'd do it. I'm assuming you two would do the same.
I would do anything to protect Alexa. But I swear to you that neither of us lied.
The killer must have put them in our room. Neither of us heard our door open, so they must have put them in before you searched the room.
then it's possible that this is the murder weapon used to kill Hildington.
If I may, sir,
Of course.
there's another possibility. Jacques discovered that the rat poison was missing. This could also account for...
That could be as well. Perhaps the pills are just a red herring.
This is interesting and all, but who did it?
I still don't know.
How do you still not know who did it, Nate?
Look, this case is very complicated. I need more time to work it all out.
No offense, Nathan, but we don't have much time. For all we know, our killer could have chosen their next victim.
I know. I'll figure this out. I just need time. I suggest we all partner up tonight and keep lookout. We'll talk about this later. I'm gonna go get some fresh air. You're all dismissed. If anyone needs me, I'll be outside.
Holloway walks out of the room. Everyone begins to look at each other. Nobody really knows who to trust. Everyone then kind of awkwardly walks out of the room. Later, Juliet is sitting up in her room, on her bed. She sighs and looks down at the floor. The door opens and Alexa walks in. Juliet looks up at her and does a sort of half smile. Alexa returns a smile and sits down on the bed. She puts her hand on Juliet's shoulder.
Are you okay, sweetie?
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about it?
No, thanks.
Okay, well, I'm going for a walk. Did you want to join me?
Maybe later.
Okay.
Alexa kisses her on the cheek and walks out. She closes the door behind her. Juliet suddenly remembers something and smiles a little. 1 year earlier, the manor's lights have all been dimmed, and Elmers, in a fancy black suit, walks down the stairs with Rosie by his side. Rosie is wearing a beautiful, flowy, violet dress. Rosie looks up at Elmers and smiles. Elmers smiles back. They both stop at the bottom of the stairs as the next pair comes down. Next come Juliet and Alexa. Juliet is in a long black dress, grinning with absolute happiness. At her side is Alexa, who is sporting an elegant red dress that pairs perfectly with Juliet's black dress. She as well is wearing a grin. They both reach the bottom of the stairs.
You both look lovely.
Thanks, Harold. You two are looking quite elegant yourselves.
They both smile at them. Next, LaCroix glides down the stairs, but isn't accompanied by anyone. He's in a similar suit that Elmers is wearing. He smiles at all of them as he reaches the last step and joins them. Lastly comes Hildington himself. He's wearing a classy white suit and a black tie. He waves at all of them as he walks down the stairs. Everyone claps and he does a bow. He reaches the bottom of the stairs and walks over to a table with an old-timey phonograph. He gestures for LaCroix and he goes promptly to where Hildington is. Hildington lets LaCroix do the honor of dropping the needle. He does this and music starts playing instantly. Juliet and Alexa clasp their hands together at the same time as Elmers and Rosie do. They dance in rhythm to the music. LaCroix and Hildington watch them. LaCroix looks over at Hildington, and Hildington looks at him. They smile at each other for a second and then turn their attention back to the dancing pairs. Back in modern times, Juliet is still sitting on her bed as a tear rolls down her cheek. Outside, Holloway is pacing while he's in a state of thought. He's working out the case in his mind, but isn't finding the answers to his questions being easily answered. He sighs and wonders if he's losing his touch. He hears the door open and he sees Elizabeth walk out. She's currently wearing a button-up tan jacket and pressed black pants. Holloway is wearing a simple white button-up shirt and black dress pants. Elizabeth smiles and Holloway smiles back. Elizabeth pulls a cigarette out of her jacket pocket, which is accompanied by a lighter soon after. She lights the cigarette and takes a long draft.
I didn't know you smoked.
I only do it when I'm stressed out. Given our current situation, you can probably understand why. Have you figured it out yet?
I feel farther from the answer than I've been. I feel like I'm losing my touch.
This has all been really stressful. I'm sure it's just getting to you. You'll figure it out.
If I don't, more people will die. How's your book coming along?
That's one of the few good things that's happened here. It's going really well. I feel like the ending is coming very soon, if all goes well.
Glad to hear. If you don't mind, I think I'm gonna go back inside and take another look at my notes.
Good luck, Nathan.
Inside, Alexa opens the door and walks in. Elmers hears the door open from the kitchen and walks out to see who it is. He finds a sweaty Alexa standing at the door. She wipes off the sweat from her brow.
Oh, it's you, Alexa. Did you have a good walk?
It was all right. What is everyone up to?
Well, Mr. Holloway's hard at work in his room. Rosie's cooking lunch. Mr. Waltz, Mrs. Harding, and Uber are upstairs.
Where's Juliet?
She's in the sitting room, I believe.
Thanks, Harold.
No problem. Lunch will be ready in about 10 minutes.
Great.
Elmers walks back to the kitchen and Alexa walks into the sitting room to find Juliet reading. Juliet looks up from her book and smiles at Alexa.
Sorry, I didn't join you. I got wrapped up in a book.
It's all right. You didn't miss much. Are you feeling better?
Oh, definitely. But I know what helped more than this.
Juliet sets down her book with a smile on her face. She winks at Alexa and motions her to sit down. Upstairs, Uva opens her door and makes her way downstairs. She smells the food being cooked and realizes that she's starving. As she walks to the dining room, she notices a scene happening in the sitting room. Inside, Juliet and Alexa are making out. Uva loses it and bursts in.
You people disgust me.
Juliet and Alexa stop instantly and jump in surprise. Juliet glares at Uva, and Alexa sort of shrinks back behind Juliet.
You know why Hildington died? Because he had such loose morals. You two just don't stop, do you?
Don't stop? You're the one that's always hitting on Nathan. You're just jealous that we've actually found love.
Not true. I've had enough of you two. You're both absolutely ridiculous. Why don't you two find nice men and throw your delusions that it will ever work?
What the hell is your problem, Uva?
My problem? Look at these two. This is wrong, Waltz, and you know it. Hasn't your religion taught you anything?
My religion tells me not to judge others, but you've made that nearly impossible in your case. All you've done is cause problems for everyone. You made me attack LaCroix. You've been manipulating people to do your bidding. I bet you've been the one murdering all these good people.
I would never. I may not like Hildington, but I'd never kill him.
That's not what it sounded like earlier. Now you've been giving these nice ladies hell over their love. The fact is, Uva, you don't have any love at all. You wish you were one of them. They found true love while you sit here all alone. The only one with delusions is you.
You're all bastards!
Thanks for standing up for us.
No problem at all. It was the right thing to do. Uva needs to learn how to do the right thing. It was disrespectful of her to insult both of you like that.
Lunch is ready.
Great, thank you. We'll be there shortly.
Splendid. Say, did something happen just a second ago?
Uva...
No need to say more, Mr. Waltz.
Who is it?
It's me, Harold, sir.
Come in.
Lunch has been prepared, sir.
Who made it?
Rosie did. Jacques taught her a few things. No offense to her, but she's not nearly as good as Jacques, but she's still got talent.
All right. I'll be down in a second just reading my notes. Say, Harold, could I ask you something?
Of course.
Were you close to Jacques?
We weren't best friends, if that's what you mean, but yes, we were definitely friendly. When Mr. Hildington didn't host a party, we'd usually have a good bit of time to ourselves. You'll find that we're all close. Jacques, Mr. Hildington, Alexa, Juliet, Rosie. They're really the only family I've got. The same goes for all of them too. Sure, Alexa visits her parents now and again. Same with Juliet and her mum. But everyone mainly stays here. I do hope all of this helps your investigation. I believe there's no way that anyone that's part of the staff would kill Mr. Hildington or Jacques.
Thank you, Harold.
Elmers nods and exits the room. Holloway looks at the bag of pills again and then gets up from his chair. He walks to his door and then exits. Downstairs in the dining room, everyone is sitting in their usual spots. The chairs that Armstrong and Hildington sat at are noticeably empty. One other chair happens to be empty, and that would be Uva's. Holloway looks over and notices that Uva is not there. He seems to be the only one who notices, or generally cares.
Where's Uva?
Probably upstairs.
Did something happen?
You could say that. Uva yelled at us.
Honestly, she's out of control. That woman doesn't know when she's crossed the line.
Uva never learns.
No, she doesn't. Thank goodness Mr. Waltz was there. I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't.
Waltz smiles at her. The door that leads to the kitchen opens and out comes Rosie, with a tray in her hand. Elmers gets up to give her a hand and she smiles at him.
Thanks, Harold. It's Jacques' spaghetti recipe. It was better when he made it, though.
This is great, Miss Chen.
Thank you, Mr. Holloway. You're too kind.
Say, why don't we get rid of all this formality? We've been through a lot just in these past few days.
As much as I like my formality, I do like your idea, Mr. Holloway. I mean, Nathan.
Maybe we should eat elsewhere, too. The empty chairs are kind of depressing.
Yes, I agree.
We could eat out in the garden.
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Elmers gets up and grabs his plate. Everyone follows suit as they go out to eat in the garden. Once they make it to the garden, they all sit down on the benches and begin eating and chatting again. Upstairs in Uva's room, she looks down and sees everyone enjoying themselves. Holloway looks up and sees her. Uva quickly closes her curtains. She realizes how alone she feels and lies down on her bed. A tear can be seen sliding down her cheek. Later, in the garden, Rosie, Alexa, Waltz, and Elizabeth are helping taking all of the dishes inside, while Elmers and Holloway talk while standing. Juliet listens intently as she sits behind them.
If we cut down enough of the trees, we could fix the bridge. Alexa's got a couple of axes back in her shed.
Great idea. I'll help you. If this works, we can get out of this death trap. I'll do my best to solve this mystery first.
I just hope we can finish this before another person dies.
Well, I say we start now. I'll join you in a second. There's something I've got to do first.
What would that be?
I need to talk to Uva.
Of your own free will?
Yes, it's the right thing to do.
Good luck. You'll need it.
There goes a brave man.
Holloway walks quickly up the stairs leading to the bedrooms and finds his way to Uva's door. He stops for a second, thinking about what he's about to do, and then knocks on her door. Inside, Uva jumps up and wipes her tears away.
Who is it?
It's me, Holloway.
Uva's expression brightens up a little when she hears his voice. She brushes her hair back from her face and sits up a little straighter.
Come in, Nate. The door's not locked.
Holloway opens the door and closes it behind him as he enters the room. Uva looks up at him and smiles. Holloway smirks a little.
So, what did you want? Is there something I could help you with?
Just wanted to make sure that you're alright.
I'd be more alright if you...
Uva, stop it. Look, you've been causing a lot of problems lately, and you need to stop.
Perhaps you're right. Those two girls disgust me, though. Waltz, too. He's got such loose morals. How can he stand up for them?
I would stand up for them, too.
Well, of course you do. You're too nice.
Holloway sits down on Uva's bed.
Harold told me he suspected that you had a tragic backstory to make you act the way you act now. He thinks that you were once a decent person.
What does he know?
Uva, you're hiding something. Tell me so I can understand you better.
My, Nate. You're being oddly nice to me. You're not the murderer, are you? Are you preparing to strike me while I tell my tragic story?
I just want to clear my conscience, just in case I end up being the next victim.
Don't say that, Nate. You're the smartest of all of us. You'll definitely be the sole survivor.
Holloway smiles a little at that remark.
So, tell me your story.
Well, alright. It's not a happy story, though.
It is your tragic backstory.
Right. Well, it all started about 15 years ago. I just started getting really good at painting. I was at an art expo trying to get my paintings out there when I met him. Damn, he was handsome. He was tall, had a dark complexion, a sexy Hispanic accent, and a nice ass. Everything a girl could dream of. Even his name was sexy, Santiago. He saw my pieces and thought they were great. We hit it off pretty easily.
A tear starts rolling down Uva's cheek.
2 years later, we started getting serious, and I knew that Santiago was the man for me. The only man. I guess he felt the same way too, because he asked me to marry him.
Uva digs into her pocket and pulls out an engagement ring and grasps it.
I thought it all would have worked out, like in the movies. Well, Santiago's brother died in a car accident, and he went to the funeral, alone. He didn't call for a week, and I got worried. I kept on calling the hotel he was staying at, but he wouldn't answer. Finally, someone picked up the phone, but it wasn't Santiago. This bitch answered the phone and asked who it was. I asked her if I could speak with Santiago, and her response was, "What do you want with my boyfriend?" I was shocked for a second and didn't respond, but I mustered up the courage to push on. I told her it was urgent. She put him on, and Santiago told me that he's been cheating on me for a year. I felt so stupid, angry, and sad all at the same time. I hung up and never talked to him again. After Santiago, I was a changed woman. My heart was utterly broken at 27, and 13 years later, it still hasn't healed. I've had relationships here and there, but nothing really struck. It was all lust. I thought I saw something special in you, but...
Uva stops herself and studies the look on Holloway's face.
I'm sorry, Nathan. I'm sure I'm making you feel uncomfortable.
Holloway wipes away a tear from Uva's face.
I've gotten used to it since you do it all the time.
I guess this is why I've been chastising those two girls. They found true love. I thought I had it, but I was blind. Well, I still think lesbians are disgusting, but that's besides the point. You know, I've never really told anyone that story.
I bet if you did, they'd understand where you're coming from.
I suppose, but let's just keep this between the two of us.
As long as you stop behaving horribly.
Uva smiles.
Deal.
Holloway's about to get up, but Uva stops him.
Wait, before you go, I want to hear one of your stories.
Seems fair. Which one would that be?
How did you meet your wife?
Anne.
Anne. That's a lovely name. What does she look like?
I've got her picture right here.
Holloway pulls out his wallet from his pocket and finds the picture of Anne. In the picture, Anne's brown hair is pulled back in a ponytail, and her deep blue eyes seem to twinkle. He gives it to Uva, and she examines it.
Wow, she's absolutely gorgeous.
She sure is.
Uva hands Holloway back the picture, and he puts it in his wallet. He then quickly puts his wallet back in his pants pocket.
So, how did you meet?
Well, believe it or not, we met on a job. Right before I was promoted to detective, we got a report of a bank robbery. Me and a couple of other guys were put to the task of stopping the assailant. We were told by the guard who called it in that the robber was holding a hostage, a bank teller. We approached the situation carefully. 2 men went in to distract the robber while I and another officer snuck around the back. Everything went to plan until the guy pulled out a bomb. We got behind the guy and I took him down, but not before he activated the bomb's countdown. The bomb was set to go off in 2 minutes and we didn't have a second to waste. We didn't have time to bring in the bomb squad, so we had to do it ourselves. We carefully disarmed the bomb just in time with only 20 seconds remaining. Those were probably the most stressful 2 minutes I've ever endured. Everyone was grateful, especially the bank teller who was being held hostage. The bank teller happened to be my wife. After the first date, we really hit it off, and a little more than 1 year later, we got married. She also stopped working at banks after that.
Wow, what a story. She's a lucky girl.
Holloway smiles at Uva. Holloway gets up from Uva's bed.
I'm gonna be leading another group meeting in a minute. It'd be for the best if you joined in.
All right, I'll be down there in a minute.
Holloway nods at Uva and opens the door and begins to walk out of the room.
Nathan.
Yes?
Thanks for trying to understand me.
Holloway smiles and then walks out. He closes the door behind him.
Anne's a lucky girl.
Holloway walks outside and goes over to the nearby forest. Over in the forest, Juliet and Elmers are chopping down some trees. Elmers has his suit jacket aside and his white button-up shirt is beginning to be sweat-stained. Juliet has changed into a light blue tank top and jeans. There are already 2 trees lying down on the ground as they begin to chop down 2 more. Elmers wipes the sweat off his brow and looks over to see Holloway approaching.
Nice work, you two. We'll be out of here in no time.
I sure hope so. My arms are killing me.
Would you two mind taking a break? I'd like to hold another meeting.
Absolutely.
Elmers and Juliet set their axes down at almost the same time and follow Holloway back inside. Later, Waltz and Holloway walk into the sitting room, where everyone is waiting for them.
Thank you all for joining me. I figured now is a good time to update all of you on what's going on. Harold, Juliet, and I will be creating a bridge out of some of the trees in the forest. As soon as we're finished, we can escape this place and get back to our homes. I'll still be investigating the murders, and I'll do my best to solve this case before we get out of the manor. One other order of business is this. I suggest we all pair up tonight for safety reasons. This way we can all keep an eye on each other, and this sounds terrible, but if one of the two people is killed, then we'll probably have a good guess as to who the murderer is. Now, since there are only 3 men left, we'll all be together. You women can decide how to divide yourselves up. Oh, but just one thing. Juliet, Alexa, I'm afraid that you two will have to be separated. You understand, though, right?
Of course.
Alright, go ahead and divide yourselves up.
I'll stay with Elizabeth, if that's alright with you.
Sounds good to me.
I guess I'll be with Uva.
Alexa grimaces a little at the idea. Juliet's a little surprised and worried about this. She grabs Alexa's hands and looks at her.
Lexi, are you sure? We could trade partners if that'd make you more comfortable.
It'll be alright, Juliet. I'll be fine.
I'll join you and Uva as well, if that'll make you feel better.
Thanks, Rosie.
Alright, it's settled then. You are all free to go about your business.
Everyone walks out of the room and begins to head off in different directions. Holloway waits outside their door and stops Elmers once he leaves the room.
Harold, could I talk to you for a second?
Of course.
Harold, can I trust you?
Yes. I'm not the murderer, if that's what you're asking. There's no way I could get away with all of this. Plus, if I were the murderer, Rosie would kill me.
Right, okay. Tell me something. Did Hildington have a gun?
Yes, a revolver. Why?
I'm setting a trap for the murderer.
A trap?
That's right, a trap. Now, where is the gun now?
It's in Mr. Hildington's study, in his desk drawer. How exactly are you going to set up a trap?
It's a shot in the dark, but we're gonna let everyone know that there's a revolver in Hildington's study.
What exactly will that accomplish? The killer's already got your revolver.
Well, I'm hoping that the murderer will go after it. Even though they have my revolver, they might fear that one of us will get it and shoot them out of paranoia. They could use it to frame someone. Look, I know it probably won't work, but it's worth a try, right?
Certainly. Anything to catch this devil is worth a try. How will we go about this?
Holloway leans towards Elmers and whispers his plan. In the sitting room, everyone but Elmers, Juliet, and Holloway are sitting around a table in the center. On the table sits plates with sandwiches on them and glasses of wine. No one sitting in the room has touched any of the sandwiches, or the wine, because they are waiting for the others to return. No more than 3 minutes later, a door is heard being opened and soon Elmers, Juliet, and Holloway walks in. Sweaty, they find a spot to sit down and look at the sandwiches in the center.
These look great, Rosie.
Well, dig in.
Everyone takes a sandwich and they begin to eat. Holloway takes a sip of the wine.
You guys didn't have to wait on us.
We wanted to. It'd be rude not to.
So, does anyone have plans for tonight?
Well, other than not dying, not really.
I say we call it an early night. I'm beat.
Sounds good to me.
Everyone continues to eat in silence, but Holloway breaks the silence.
Oh, I nearly forgot. I found my revolver. It was in Hildington's study.
Hildington's study? What was it doing there?
No idea, but until this mystery is solved, it's staying there.
Do you think Hildington stole the gun?
I'm not sure. If he did, then we don't have to worry. The murderer doesn't have it. That's all that matters.
No one else says anything else. Everyone occasionally looks up at everyone else, but with different eyes than they had in the beginning. Their eyes are filled with distrust. After all of the dishes are cleared and put in the sink, everyone heads up to their rooms. Elizabeth opens the door to her room and Juliet walks in after her. Uva, Rosie, and Alexa all head into Uva's room, and the men are all in Holloway's room. Inside, Elmers takes off his buttoned shirt and is now in a tank top. Waltz is sitting on Holloway's bed, and Holloway's sitting in a chair in the corner.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm not the slightest bit tired. I think I'm gonna go for a swim.
Do you Want me to come with you? Safety in numbers.
I'll be alright. I can't let fear control your life, you know? Plus, you must be beat. You could use some rest.
Yes, I definitely could. If you're sure.
I'll be fine.
I'll walk down with you.
Coming for a swim too?
I've got other plans.
Alright, well, I think I'm going to head down now.
Waltz gets up from Holloway's bed and walks out of the room. Holloway gets up from his chair and walks towards the door.
Harold, you can sleep in my bed.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'll take the chair.
Thank you. Good luck, Nathan.
Holloway nods at Elmers and then walks out of the room. Holloway walks into Waltz's room and waits for him to get changed into his swimsuit. In Uva's room, everyone is preparing to go to bed.
I'm going to change in the bathroom. I'm afraid that if I change here, you'd fall in love.
Alexa rolls her eyes.
You're full of yourself.
Uva walks out of the room, holding her nightgown in her hands. She shuts the door behind her.
Ugh. This is going to be one damned long night.
At least we have each other. Thanks for being here with me, Rosie.
Hey, that's what friends are for. Plus, there's no way I'm leaving you here alone with Miss Crazy.
I'm going to say goodnight to Juliet. I'll be right back.
All right. Tell her I said goodnight as well.
Alexa smiles at her as she walks out of the room. Meanwhile, in Elizabeth's room, Juliet is drinking a glass of water while Elizabeth sits on her bed. A knock is heard and Elizabeth gets up to answer it. She pokes her head out of the door to see who it is and finds Alexa standing in front of it.
Hello, Alexa.
Hi, Mrs. Harding.
I suppose you wanted to see Juliet?
Alexa nods. Elizabeth steps back from the door and looks at Juliet.
Alexa's here.
Juliet sets down her glass of water and walks to the door and opens it. She shuts it behind her. Downstairs, Waltz and Holloway are walking with each other until they pass Hildington's study.
This is where I leave you, Eric. Stay safe, okay?
Of course. You know me. Always safe.
Waltz walks off as Holloway enters the study. He doesn't turn on the light or heads straight for the Hildington's desk. He opens the door and picks up the revolver inside it. It's a slightly smaller revolver than the one Holloway had, and it's very shiny. Holloway figures that Hildington never used it. He briefly examines it, noticing that it's loaded, and pockets it. Back up in Uva's room, everyone's figuring out their sleeping arrangements.
I feel as though it's only fair that I get the bed. I'd rather not sleep with either of you, especially you.
I'd definitely rather sleep on the floor than with you.
I guess I'll take the chair.
Glad we can all be civil about this.
Some civil woman you are.
What was that, dear?
Nothing. Good night.
That's what I thought.
Back in Elizabeth's room, Juliet yawns as she sets down her empty glass of water.
Well, I think I'm going to get some sleep. Good night, Elizabeth.
Where are you going?
What? I thought I was sleeping in the chair.
We can share a bed if you'd like.
Thanks. If you don't mind sharing a bed with a lesbian.
Don't mind at all. Just no touching, okay?
Juliet laughs at this as she gets into the bed. Elizabeth gets in as well and turns off the lamp sitting on the side table. Downstairs, a shadowy figure can be seen walking. The figure moves towards the kitchen and then enters. The figure's gloved hand grabs the knife and then moves into the sitting room. There, they proceed to pull the lamp's cord so that it is no longer in the outlet. The knife comes down and slices the cord clean from the lamp. The knife is then used to shear away some of the plastic coating near the new end of the cord. The figure grabs the cord and walks towards the pool. Outside, Waltz stands before the pool, drying himself off. His back is turned away from the slightly open door as he dries his face. He's unaware of the fact that the shadowy figure is standing behind him. The cord that previously was part of the lamp is now thrown into the pool. Waltz hears the splash from underneath his towel and looks into the pool. Before he can react, he is shoved into the pool and begins convulsing. The convulsing continues until eventually his body lies perfectly still. The shadow, careful not to reveal much about themselves, moves towards the tool shed nearby. Upstairs, a door opens and out comes Rosie. She briskly walks to the bathroom and shuts the door behind her. The shadowy figure now reaches the top of the stairs while Rosie is still inside the bathroom. A length of rope is seen in their hands, in the shape of a noose. A figure walks closer and closer to the bathroom door. The door swings open and Rosie walks out, not noticing the figure. The rope slips around her neck and is tightened and pulled back. Rosie begins to choke and desperately grasping for air. She tries to lash out at her attacker, but isn't successful. Her last words are cut off as she goes limp. The murderer drags her body into the bathroom and closes the door.